Adidas. South side or the north side, not tuned to the greatest. Home team for the home teams. Both sides got our own rings. On the mound or the long ball, but we don't put the wrong strings. Yeah. It's that time of the year now. Wrigley or Gantes or the whole league that we hear now. New show with a new mood. Discussions and interviews. Trade rumors that might be. This is Pinwheels and Knife.
Favorite time of the week is hearing that song every week. Am I frozen or are you frozen? All right, now we're both unfrozen. All right. In 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? It is Thursday, June 20th, and you have found the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. I am your host, Matt Zwaski, a.k.a. Southside Zo, a.k.a. Father Zo, and I'm very, very happy to see my man back, Mr. Aldo Soto.
It's a good thing we record on Wednesdays because, as I was telling Zo, if we did this show any earlier, maybe if it was like on a Monday night, Tuesday morning, I think I might have taken like another 1 month hiatus because that Monday night Cubs blown game, let me tell you, I was angry. The angriest I've been in a while. And the Cubs have been kind of bad for a while. So that kind of speaks volumes because holy shit, man. Hector Neris, the Cubs bullpen, the closer shit, it's still annoying. I was still annoying today. You would think a 6-1 lead would be good, right? In the 8th inning. But they somehow made that one interesting. But the Cubs finally won a series for the first time in a month, I think. So trending up to almost a winning streak, right? Just one more and then 3 in a row.
Well,
Cubs are back.
Speaking of said winning streaks, K-Fitz is in Chicago. He has been at the last 2 Cubs games, so he is taking full credit for the said 2 wins. Sounds like he hopped on the red line and is now currently at the White Sox game as we record this. I will be joining Mr. Fitz at the White Sox game on Thursday, the day game at 1:10. If any of you feel like playing hooky and meeting us out there, we'll be sitting in the 108. Got some tickets courtesy of one of our favorite 108ers, so appreciate that as always.
I mean, if the Cubs and Sox keep winning, you got to keep Kevin hostage.
Apparently.
In Chicago.
I don't think he put up too much of a fight. He's a teacher, so he's summer vacation. So yeah. I know he's got another job, but still. So we're coming up to the end of June. Both teams are bad. As we discussed last week, it's a good time to be bad because it is going to be a very heavy seller's market because so many teams think they're in it this year. But that's where we're going to start tonight. We're going to talk about trade rumors. We're going to talk about what's going down on the farm, some current things going on with each team. Chris Getz climbed out of his hole and finally talked to the media for the first time in like over a month, which I think is wild. I didn't realize it's been a month since he talked to the media. And then we'll go from there. But with all that being said, let's tap this keg. As always, the show is brought to you by Sports Mockery, sportsmockery.com. Make sure you download the app, turn on push notifications, and be the first one to know anything and everything that goes on in Chicago sports. Sports Mockery, sportsmockery.com. Download the app. And also brought to you by Homage. If you're watching us live, as you should be every Wednesday night, scan the QR code in the top corner of the screen there and get 15% off your first purchase. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking T-shirts, hoodies, long sleeve shirts, pop culture, baseball, every major sport. They even got NASCAR for Mitch. True to size, I've watched them now a couple times. They haven't shrunk at all. I'm a bigger guy, 6'1", 220, so like I don't like it when T-shirts shrink. We'll put it that way because I'm a little bit tubby. But I'll be rocking my homage gear at the White Sox game on Thursday. But I always get compliments on it too, especially the NBA Jam style one with Bo Jackson.
MLB, love that. Love the MLB Jam style shirts.
I know Fizz wore his to the Cubs game last night.
The Dansby Swanson, Cody Bellinger one, nice. Yep. I think he also has the throwback. I think it's Sandberg and Dawson.
Yeah, I could have pulled the trigger on the current one because
tough timing.
Kind of leads us perfectly into our first topic conversation with the trade deadline looming. As I mentioned, Chris Getz kind of climbed out of his hole. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it all. It was a long. I mean, there was a lot of good sound bites from it. A lot of all the collective White Sox beat writers, Vinny at CHGO, the guys at Sox Machine. They all did a really good job breaking it down into tidbits so people with mild cases of ADD like myself can comprehend it and see what's going on.
I took one thing away from it.
That he's getting pretty good at GM speech, because he is getting pretty good at GM speech.
And like I think the main one was like, because it was like, well, you know, how long is this rebuild going to be? He's like, you know, no clear answer. Like, you know, rebuild's a rebuild.
Rebuild's a rebuild, and it really showed me that he just doesn't give a fuck about this year. Like the way that he was answering questions, and how it's pretty hard too when you're over 50 losses already in the middle of June. But he said, he's like, yeah, the record, you know, doesn't really give you much hope, but we're seeing how these players develop. And he did say there are some guys that were really disappointed in their development. It's not going how we thought it would go. Martin Maldonado, but like, and he didn't give Pedro the kiss of death. Like, we support Pedro 100%. He didn't do that, but he also didn't like. He's like, yeah, we'll see what personnel's here next year. It's just like, okay.
That's as close as you're gonna get to any executive being like,
right,
we're firing this guy.
Yeah, your ass is done.
I do wonder though, like, was there like any pushback from the reporters being like, well, I mean, again, right, we all knew this isn't. I mean. Actually, no. I don't think it's that big of a surprise that the White Sox are like bad. We knew they were going to be bad. We were hopeful that they're going to be like just not this awful, but they are. But like, wasn't the whole Chris Getz thing like this guy knows the organization, this guy knows the strong suits, and again they have the whole they can't pick higher than 10th in next year's draft, so there's really no point in tanking. Because you can't get like a top 3 pick anyway, so like your plan shouldn't have been to suck this bad, and it kind of like he just kind of didn't care about the season because again he didn't like the team is. We knew it was going to be this bad. We knew,
right?
I mean, maybe not historically bad, but we knew it was going to be bad. So like what?
Yeah, we knew it was going to be bad, and the other thing. He touched on how good the farm system's been, which the farm system has been the opposite of the major league team. They've actually produced at a higher level than expected. And the one thing, though, that he wouldn't do, and I don't really blame him for not doing this. Some people were kind of getting on his ass about it. He wouldn't really commit to a timeline for when he's going to call these kids up. It's annoying. As a fan, you want him to be like, Colson Montgomery will probably be up in a month. You want to hear that. Which there's a very vocal section of White Sox Twitter that don't want Colson Montgomery up at all this year because he's still under 100 WRC plus. He's hitting for more pop, but he's like at like an 89 or 90 or something like that. So he's got some work to do, and I get it though because I'm a sales guy by trade. Okay. And so anytime someone's like, oh, when is this new feature coming out? If I say it's going to come out in a month, the engineers are going to fuck with it and it won't come out for 6. And then I look like an asshole. So I get why Getz is like, I don't want to say that because if he says he's going to be up in a month and he doesn't come up at all this year, or he comes up, like at the September call-ups or something like that, like he looks like he's lying to you. So I get that answer. I really do, salesman is salesman because he's basically just trying to sell a shitty product right now.
By the way, Colson Montgomery, I did look up his stats. Currently at a slash line of 217, not good. 327 on base, so he's still taking his walks. But he's like in 391, that's a OPS of 719. And as we know, the AAA numbers are crazy, so you expect a lot of offense. And even though he has like a decent on base, not a lot of slug.
He's got 10 homers now too, right?
Yeah, 10 home runs, but that WRC plus is at 88. He's got a little Christopher Morel in there where you see some of the power, but it's like, where's the rest of it?
Right. And it's just
It's tough. I mean, he still is
yeah.
young. People do forget he
Oh
missed
yeah,
time
no, he's
last year.
definitely
Still 22. I mean, he's at
and I mean,
AAA, and I think we're so used to like seeing like superstars. We're like, well, they're or like superstar prospects or like top 10 prospect. That's what he was
mhm,
heading into the season, and we automatically think like, oh, well, I mean, this guy, he's 22, but he should be like feasting on these, over the hill AAA pitchers. But
right.
at the same time, it's like, I mean, he's still 22, missed time
Mhm,
last year, like almost half the season.
yep.
He's still younger on average by like 2-3 years, or probably more, like 3 years. So like, 'cause cut the kid some slack, but I do like
Right.
that's what I've been saying with him specifically. It's like
So
I wouldn't rush him just yet.
and then I'm with you, but also a couple things. One, Jackson Holiday was a can't miss guy, right? He was going to come up and he was just going to rule MLB because he was killing it in AAA. And he came up and had what, like one hit and 49 at bats?
Yeah, it
And then
was
sent his
bad.
ass back down. All I'm saying is I get there's exception to every rule. Like I get Tom Brady was the last pick in the draft and blah, all this shit and blah, 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 blah. There's exceptions to every rule in sports. I think now more than ever, with the amount of parity in the league, the amount of kids that are coming out of high school ready to go, with just how everything is being structured, the days of like really nailing it down, like who was it? Ramos. Ramos was fucking dog shit in Double A.
Yeah.
And then the Sox called him up and he tore it up for a while before he got hurt.
Hmm.
I'm just saying, like, you can't set it in stone. Like, there's nothing that's like this guy, there's no formula. Like this equals this. That's not there because you don't know how the kid's gonna handle it. You don't know like what else is going on in his life. You don't know all that other shit. And that's why I was telling Fizz, I mean, first and foremost, I'd love to see Pedro gone. Because I don't want Pedro stink on these kids. Get rid of them at the All-Star break. I don't care what you got to do. But also, I feel like, and I know I'll probably get ripped up for this by, somebody will have a counterpunch for me, but why not bring him up now when there's no pressure and no one expects anything? Was it going to get worse?
I think maybe the counter to, or not even, I mean, maybe going back to what Chris Getz, obviously he's not going to give anyone. I mean, he's
Right.
probably has it, obviously behind closed doors. They're planning ahead when they think they're going to actually compete. But maybe he's thinking, well, why am I going to waste a year of this guy on this shitty team, lose that 1 year of service time when I can have that, starting later, and still
Right.
have Colson Montgomery in his prime when my team is hopefully good again, and not, oh shit, Colson Montgomery is a star now and he's a free agent, and
Right. I get
I
that.
wasted him on a record loss team. I think that's the, and I think
That
that's
makes
why
sense.
and I think that's why Chris gets his wishy washy on the timeline, because maybe he doesn't know when the Sox are going to be good again, because he's like, fuck.
Well, that comes down
Some
to
of the pitching is good, but the offense, it's like, man, we need to fill a lot of holes.
But the thing is, he's going to be forced to show his cards
Oh, for
because
sure.
if he trades Robert and or Crochet, this is a 5-year rebuild.
Mhm.
If he doesn't, now we're looking in a 3-year type window. You know what I mean? Because so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, has he fucked some stuff up? Yes, he 100. Martin Maldonado is like one of the worst signings of all time. The guy is historically bad, and him being the defensive specialist, look at his defensive stats, folks. They're not even good. They're not even good.
So I think we touched upon this a couple weeks ago. Maybe it was like early May. The Rick Hahn, obviously we know his faults, but like a lot of the problems there was that he just couldn't hit on any mid-level free agent. Like every guy he picked was, Adam Eaton, garbage. He had to DFA him. Offensively, like specifically with that. So like, do you feel good? It's like, hey, everybody thought Paul DeJong was like done. The White Sox give him like the MLB deal, basically hand him the job. I mean,
Yep.
he's been kind of decent, right? Like, I know he's not
Yep.
been good by any. Like, I'm not saying he's good, but
No,
like
but he's
he's been
been
decent. Like, he's been hitting for power.
he has been decent. He's got some pop in the bat. I mean, he's got 14 home runs right now. He's hitting 235, 283 with a 752 OPS. So his
I mean,
on-base percentage is not great.
I
But he's
mean
hitting for
that
power.
752 OPS, unfortunately, in today's MLB,
Right.
that's considered good now. Like, that's
That's
just good.
true.
So hey, that's a positive thing that gets guys like, hey, and I know DeYoung's defense hasn't lived up to, his reputation,
Has not.
but the offense has. So hey, that's a surprise, right? It's like, hey, you got something. You hit on like on a low level. You're paying this guy
Yep.
nothing, and he's giving you positive results here.
And he can
Tommy
net you
Pham, another guy.
and
Tommy
I'm just
Pham,
saying,
scrap heap. You
Paul,
got
hold
him
on
for
real
nothing.
quick. Paul DeYoung got him for nothing, could probably net you a top 100 prospect. One, maybe, at the deadline. There's teams that need shortstops right now. People are dropping like flies, Dodgers. And
Well, I think Bo Bichette just got hurt too. Well, I mean, who the hell knows what the Blue Jays are going to do?
I know, but I'm just saying, like, that to me is the bigger hit for them and Tommy Pham, which you were going to, that you get these guys for next to nothing, and then you could flip them for what you really want in a top tier prospect.
But I was gonna transition then to asking you. So, and then there's those two guys, Eric Fetty, awesome signing. Like, if he doesn't trade Crochet, if he doesn't trade Luis Robert Jr. this year, does that give you confidence? Do you feel more confident that Chris Getz can supplement the roster? That like he can go out and get like mid-level guys? He can find hidden gems? Because like that's one thing that Rick Hahn just couldn't do. And it's like, hey, Chris Getz, can he actually do this within a couple years? Can he actually build a successful or a competitive roster? Who knows if they're going to be successful or not, but
that's why I'm not as down on guys as a lot of people. He's made some pretty shitty fucking moves, though. I mean, not all of them have been DeYoung's and
Maldonado, the pitching.
A lot of the pitching, just why is Mike Clevenger still on this roster? Like, it's just like, what are we doing here? Why is Martin Maldonado still on this roster? Corey Lee has been a great surprise this year. Corey Lee couldn't hit water outside of a boat last year. And he's hitting. He's got the fastest pop time of all catchers in Major League Baseball. You can't run on him. Well, you could try, but he got that one dude the other night. Like, it was like the scene from Major League. Corey Lee threw it down, and Nicky Lopez was like, or Danny Mendick was like, come on. Like, you're very out. Like, crawl to the base now. So that you got that going for you, but you also have this kid in Double-A right now, Edgar Cuero. Oh, look at his fucking stats, man.
Beast. He's a beast.
He's going ballistic, dude. He played. Didn't have a great May. Did not have a great May. And flipped a switch or something. And holy shit, man. The kid is just going. He went like 5 for 5 last night in that Negro League game at what's it called? Like Red shit. I can't think of the name of it. Sorry. But yeah, dude's just going nuts, dude. And so I made a joke earlier this year, like when he was like player of the week or something. I was like, it's too bad he's blocked by a stud catcher like Martin Maldonado. And everyone's like, he's not blocked, blah, blah, blah. He's only a double. The kid's fucking earning a shot, man. He should at least, they got a jam in AAA right now with catchers with like Chucky Robinson and all those other guys that, I mean, come on.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm going to read off his stats for June. This is June. This is when he's popping off. Edgar Cuero. Oh my God. I knew he was hot, but God, I just saw the batting average. Again, Edgar Cuero, Double-A, 21 years old. It's a league that is not known for hitting. If like,
yep, that's what I'm saying.
15 games, he has a slash line of 482, 532. That's a 532 on base. A 786 slug, so he has a 1.318 OPS. Zo, our favorite WRC plus. Remember, folks, 100 is average. Edgar Cuero in 15 games, 287. He is nearly 3 times better than the league average hitter in June.
But hey, fuck it. Let's roll out
Ooh.
Martin Maldonado. I'm just saying, man, when this team is this bad, when you're over 50 losses in the middle of June, those are the kids. Give him a shot.
At the minimum, it's like, hey, and I know I know he had a terrible May, so like it's not
Yes.
like, oh, why isn't this guy in AAA? But like after this, at least give Sox fans like, hey man, you get it to AAA, and then it's like, okay, now you open the door where he's up by the summer maybe, but like get that guy to AAA as soon as possible.
Yeah, he needs to move, man. Like he's that 15 games there. That just shows I'm good. Let's see what's up. Like it's just stupid. And then
Because like I'll go back to I'll go, obviously he had a terrible May, but I'll go back to April. I mean, he had a 175 WRC plus in April.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. He just had a bad May.
Yeah, I mean he was that's amazing. 175 WRC plus for a catcher.
Yep.
Great.
And then kind of circling back to we said it and we kind of grazed over it, but why is Mike Clevenger still here? Like why? Like what he wasn't good. He wasn't good before he got hurt. He got hurt, and then you get these kids up. Cannon was 1 out away from a complete game shutout of the fucking Astros. I mean, the Astros haven't been good this year, but still, like.
Now, those are the guys. I know we're talking about like position players wise, you know, with Montgomery and Cuero, and you know, getting him up to the majors. But the pitching guys are the if you're gonna argue on like get the pitching up to see what they got or like have them develop, that I will agree with you.
Yes.
Like this Cannon guy, Drew Thorpe has now made a couple starts. I know Nestrini has struggled, but like, hey, they're getting that experience. You're getting to see, okay, what are they good at? What are they bad at? What do they have to get better at the major league level? I think that does matter for pitchers. Like get them up because you don't really like what's the point of Nick Nastrini being at AAA for like 30 starts?
Right.
Like, there's
Rick
no point
Woodfield. Sorry, that was going to bother the shit out of me until I figured that out. Rick Woodfield. But yeah, dude.
Like get them struggle if they're going to struggle now because that's the thing. Like the White Sox are eventually going to try and compete. Like Chris Getz isn't going to have a 100-loss team every year.
I would
so
hope not.
get those pitchers struggling now when your season doesn't matter. It is all about development. Develop those starting pitchers because at the end of the day, for the most part, you are going to be successful with a good starting rotation. And that's what the White Sox have right now in their farm system is a lot of starting pitchers. And I mean, there are guys who are like on the cusp and you have room in your rotation now. Get them that playing time. You don't need Mike Clevenger. You don't need to waste time with like.
You don't need Soroka or any of those guys touching the ball anymore.
Like even Chris Flexen. I think Chris Flexen had like a couple of decent starts, but it's like
but not good enough where I'm like, I need me some Chris Flexen.
Right.
Like, no. I mean, you got this Iriarte, Jake Eder, Kai Bush. You saw Drew Thorpe already. Like, these kids are tearing it up, man. Like, let them live, bro. Let them live. They got something special cooking down there in Birmingham right now with the pitchers. Just give them a shot, dude. Like, I don't need to ever see Mike Clevenger pitch again in a White Sox uniform. It's not even because of all the off-field bullshit, and he's a complete he's a complete shit stain of a human being. It's just he's not good at baseball. I don't need people to, oh, you just hate him because you're no motherfucker. It's not because I'm a snowflake. It's not because I want to give him a second chance. That shit stain of a human can also not pitch. So what's the point? And there's a reason why he was just sitting there when the White Sox picked him up. Because 3 separate times now, every other team in baseball were like, nah, we're good. That tell you something? It's like the whole thing with Puig again. There's a reason why he doesn't have a job. Bauer, there's a reason why he doesn't have a job. Like, we can go on and on and on. I don't care what Bauer's TikTok tells you. There's a reason he doesn't have a job. I get that he's killing it in the Mexican League. There's a reason he doesn't have a job. There's always a reason, folks. Use your fucking head. These teams' only goal is to win games. They've had murderers. They've had serial spouse abusers. If they were good enough, they found their way onto a fucking team. Look at Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah.
And so there's a reason why these guys aren't on fucking teams right now, folks. And I'm good. I don't ever see Soroka pitch for the White Sox again. I don't need to see Chris Flexen pitch for the White Sox again. I don't need to see Clevenger pitch for. I want to see Ariarte throw a game. I want to see. Yeah.
I wasn't here for when the news broke, but R.I.P. to Tim Hill on the White Sox.
Oh yeah.
I think I saw that like a day after it happened. I'm like, oh dang.
Yeah.
Didn't realize he was that.
There's a reason why he's still a free agent. Like, it's your team's terrible when you're dropping guys and no one has any interest at all.
Okay. Quick segment. Do you believe it? Fact or fiction? Andrew Vaughn back? Is it real or fake? Is it real long term, or is this kind of just the 1 month he's hot?
I think it's real. I think the anomaly was how bad he was. I don't think it's him being good. I think he's always had very sound hitting mechanics. I think he's hitting to all fields a lot better. I feel like he's taking the base hit instead of swinging for the home run, which is changing a lot of his approach. And also, me and Fitz were talking about it. Although, man, during that bad streak, you can look at that man's face and you knew that man was down bad. Like, he was in just a
Could
bad
you? I
place.
feel like he always has the same face.
No, he was down bad, dude. And like, you could see that. Now he's got a little confidence, and that's showing with this hit streak. Like, that's what he's doing, man. And he had another big hit tonight. Like, I think he has always been, and it's one of the reasons why Fids was so high on him, was he's always been so fundamentally sound. And if you're that fundamentally sound, eventually it's going to figure itself out, and he figured it out.
No, he's been red hot.
Yes. Some people think he might get dealt. Everyone on the I don't care what Chris Getz says. There's a massive for sale sign in the front lawn of guaranteed rate right now. If someone called right now and offered him an insane package for Luis Robert, he's gone.
He's gone.
He doesn't give a fuck. There was that deal that Talking Baseball put up.
Oh, yeah.
I tweeted that video out. Yeah. Robert, Crochet, and Kopech for basically the Dodgers' top 10 prospects.
Like, not even. That was the thing. I was like, probably not enough.
Well, that was the weird thing. Like, when they were listing who the Dodgers would give up, like, they didn't do them in order. So it was confusing. They started naming names, and it was like the number 7, then the number 2, then the number 8, then the number 1. And then, like, it was like, just do them in order, dude. Like, why are you doing this? And I agree with Sports Genius 38 in the comments. The Orioles' phone is going to be ringing off the hook. Bradish is done for the year. They fucking dropped the ball on Dylan Cease, even though he's been struggling lately.
Yeah. So you can only dominate the Cubs, and then he falls off the.
Yep. But I mean,
I was going to ask you. I think I saw the point being made. It's like if they weren't going balls to the wall to get Dylan Cease, what makes you think that they'll go to that extent for Garrett Crochet, who, yes, he's been amazing, but there's the uncertainty of like this is his first time doing it, like as a starting pitcher.
And I agree, and he's coming off an injury, and he's young, and there's a lot to it. But can I interest you in an Eric Fetty?
I think that would be the range. I
think you could probably snag a top 25 prospect out of their system for an Eric Fetty.
Like
you're not getting Gunnar Henderson. Like stop, people just stop with that shit. You're not getting that. But
and the best thing for White Sox fans, like in terms of with the Orioles, is how great the Yankees have been.
Yes,
because like they're leading the division. The Orioles are right now looking up. And they're like, well, fuck, we're gonna have to compete with these guys in October. How are we gonna shut them down? You need pitching. So yeah, they probably will be. They probably have been. And Getz is probably being like, fuck you guys. We'll keep, we're going to have all the teams at the table before we do anything. Unless you do something stupid.
This is what I'm saying right now, dude. In the American League, it's the Angels, the A's, and the White Sox. In the National League, it's the
Rockies and the Marlins who are out.
Rockies and Marlins.
Everybody else is in it.
Those are your 5 selling teams right now. If there was a time to be a seller, the White Sox just lucked into this because this is the time to be a seller in this market. Because there's so many, especially in the National League. National League, everyone is within 2 games of the wild card spot except for the Rockies and Marlins.
Yeah,
literally everyone else. Literally everybody else is in there. And then it's not as close in the American League because teams are starting to pull away. But I mean, the Rangers are 7.5 out. The Astros are 7.5 out. The Tigers are 7 out. But like, that's still that's in like no move zone. Like maybe you make one big move.
They're like and like it's what are we at June 19th to 20th.
Yep.
They're like they basically have until the All-Star break to figure that out. Is probably what their front office is thinking.
Yep.
So they maybe one of those teams has like a hot week or two. They're like, okay, we're right back in this.
Yeah.
No, but so the White Sox should be. The White Sox should be looking for anything, for any team who's desperate, any team who's willing to give up like a lot, and like that's and like I think that is why Chris Getz doesn't want to give off a timeline, because like would you blame that's the thing though. So like just forget about what you think is best overall for the future. What do you prefer? Do you prefer keep Crochet, keep Luis Robert Jr., or are you like, hey man, if there's a good deal, take it for either of those guys or both of those guys?
Obviously, if there's a good deal, I'm not going to say no. You know what I mean? Like that would be foolish. Oh, Fitz missed a class pick for 108. He's going to be pissed. But I mean, like, yeah, dude, if like there's a deal that blows you away, like if the Orioles do offer a guy like Gunnar Henderson or like some, you know what I mean, like something crazy. Okay, I don't think they're going to get that anywhere.
Right.
Luis Robert's injury prone and Garrett Crochet is unknown. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there. Like I know they're good, hell of a ball player. I'm glad they're on our team, but when you're trading with another organization, they're going to go through everything and try to get it as nitpicky as possible. It's like when you're trying to buy a car, you tell the car salesman, like, oh, that hubcap looks a little loose, or like, oh, look at this. You know what I mean? Like, so if it's up to me and they can do it, I trade DeYoung, I trade Fetty, I trade Pham, I trade who else? I mean, if you hear something good for Andrew Vaughn, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to trade Crochet.
Oh, you wouldn't? Okay.
I think you could build a rotation around Crochet, and I also think you could build a starting 9 around Luis Robert.
Okay. I get you. So you wouldn't. So you would keep those guys and be like, hey man, try to do something in these next 3 years. Because that's the timeline, basically.
Like, but that's what I'm saying. Unless like you get some just insane offer, which I don't think is coming. You know what I mean? And like, so no, and I think both of those guys are good enough where you can build around them. Like, they're not going to pick up Eloy's option, even though he's coming back next week or this weekend or whatever bullshit, just so he can get hurt again in 2 weeks. Apparently, Yohan is alive.
All right.
And he's coming back after the All-Star break.
Man,
you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen, right?
He's going to get hot. He's
going to be the best third baseman in baseball in the second half of the season.
He's going to do what he did last year, didn't he? Like, finish the year, like, amazing?
Yep. Because no one gave a shit.
He's going to have, like, a 950 OPS, like, gold glove defense. Chris Getz is going to be like, pick up the option, try to trade him, and then no one wants to trade him, and then you're stuck with him. No, that wouldn't happen.
Kopech.
Dude, Kopech, man. He's not as consistent as you need him to be to get a good return.
I feel like Kopech is that bad boy that the girls are all like, I can change him.
Maybe, but that's the thing. It's the car dealership again. Teams are gonna be like, I mean, we'll give you like 50% on this. That's what kind of sucks with Kopech. You were hoping. I really thought that he's starting in the bullpen from like day one. Like
they're not going to trade Julks, Drew. They're not going to trade Julks.
Julks.
No, they like that kid.
By the way, has Chucky Robinson played? I know he got called up. Has he been in games?
No, that was just a call up before they say goodbye.
Damn.
That was definitely a make
That's
room.
sad.
That's a make room move.
I got
know.
hyped. I'm like, hey, our boy Chucky.
Yeah.
I was
They
like, I
might
don't
give
know. Like, I think
Maybe they-
I was like, Maldonado's still up. Wait, what's happening?
Maybe tomorrow's that day. Maybe tomorrow's that day because
That would be
it's
special.
a little Thursday afternooner, and I'm sure there won't be. I'm sure there won't be that many people there. And
You
I
have
could
to
just
bet Chucky Robinson home run if he's in the lineup.
if he's in the lineup, 100% I will. And that's no question about it. I 100% will. Who's pitching tomorrow? It's probably going to be Flexen. Is it Flexen? It's going to be Flexen.
Flex on him.
Yep. Flexen versus some guy named Already T.
All right.
Yeah. Why couldn't Fetty and Flexen switch?
Right, dude. You got,
God
and
damn
then
it.
you miss Crochet because Crochet's tonight. Dang.
Yep, Crochet tonight, then Flexen, and then they go to Detroit for 3, and it's Fetty, Thorpe, Cannon, which I'd love to see any of those.
Right?
two
Any
guys
of
play.
those guys. You get Chris Platt, the one guy
Yeah.
you don't want to see.
Yep. Oh, but I'm going to the game next Thursday because my uncle's going to be the hero of the game.
Yes,
the one
yes,
from the
yes.
Nam, and that's looking to be a Thorpe Chris Sale matchup.
Ooh.
So
Drew
I get.
I've only seen the box scores. What's Drew Thorpe? What's up? What have you seen?
Like him.
Okay.
He's a bulldog. He's a bulldog. He gets hit around a little bit, but he stays consistent with his game plan. When that changeup is changing, when that thing is thanging, it looks like a prime Giolito changeup, dude. He had Julio Rodriguez spinning around like a fucking corkscrew. I mean, it's good. I think he had a good debut. He had a rough second start. I think he's going to be okay. I agree with Drew. It's growing pains, but this is exactly what you were talking about. Although this is why you bring the pitchers up so they can figure this out. But you can literally, as you're watching this kid, you can see it before your eyes. This kid figuring shit out. Seems like a smart kid. Great, 80 grade mustache. But yeah, I'm optimistic about Thorpe. I like Thorpe. I like him. I know Nastrini he had that good debut and then he got fucking shelled. But
he had
a
good outing against the Red Sox. Only one run.
Yep. I don't give up. I'm not giving up. But see,
he walks. He walks too many guys.
Yep.
He needs to figure that. That looks like it's a huge problem.
This is just making me more upset that Mike Clevenger's still on this team. Because we could just sit here and just name people that I would rather see pitch than Mike Clevenger. And they're already saying that Thorpe is Cannon is in Clevenger's spot. Cannon looked really good, dude.
He looked amazing, dude.
Cannon took it to one. He had 26 outs, and then he got 2 soft-ass under 80-mile-an-hour exit velocity base hits against them, so they had to take him out. But the Sox won 2-0, dude. He shut out Houston, which, again, this isn't the World Series Houston Astros anymore, but they still got some shooters in there. You know what I mean?
Oh, speaking of that, I was going to ask you, because I think it's happening between the weeks of recording, I think. It was a big conversation back in May, but now he's completely out there. Do you still want Brady back?
No, I mean, I get it. I think Pito's done, man. In all honesty, I'm happy for him.
He got paid. Dude got paid.
He went to Houston. He got the bag. He got to play a little bit in the playoffs. He got to show everybody he can do it in crunch time. And then he showed everybody he was a team guy. Went back down to AAA. Came back, just not there. But you know what? He's wiping his tears with 30 mil, brah. 30 mil. That's a good way to ride off in the sunset. I think what we'll see most likely is the whole one-day contract, retire as a White Sox type deal.
Yeah. I can see that.
I mean, that's almost like that's going to happen. But
do you think I know this is bad, maybe stereotypical, but it says here Abreu's 37. He's probably 40, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't doubt it.
Because, like, I mean, the decline was like,
Pretty rapid, yeah.
like,
If that was a stock ticker, it would be like a roller coaster, like
like Enron. I mean, talk about Houston. It was like, yeah. Man. Yeah,
But
I mean, but I mean, it happens. I saw with the Cubs, Yan Gomes. He's only like 36, and it's like, dude looks like should be
I
retired.
thought
Like
Yan Gomes was 42. Like
he just that is a guy who catching takes years off your face because that man does not look 36.
No, he does not. I mean, once the Cubs released him and picked up that dude from New York, I looked up Yan Gomes and I was like, no.
Right.
I'm older than Yan Gomes. I was like, come on. There's no way I'm older than Yan Gomes. Like, I feel like he's been in baseball for 20 years.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, man. Like, age caught up to him. I'm looking at his page. I'm like, this guy's only 3 years older than me. Like, wait, what the hell?
And I mean, believe me, like, I get it. Like, I'm okay now with the fact that I'm older than a lot of the players that I'm watching. Like, all of them, basically. Mm-hmm. I'm cool with that. Like, I'm in my dad era, if what the kids like to say. So, like, I'm good with it. But, like,
as long as Rich Hill keeps pitching, we still got one old guy.
Hey, Hendricks looked pretty good today too.
Yeah.
Which kind of fucked me out of money because I saw him and I was like, oh, we're gonna bet against the Cubs. And yeah.
What a fun fact, Kyle Hendricks, that start. Yep. I mean, no one was gonna blame you for thinking that, but because Kyle Hendricks, 5 2/3, gave up, I think, only 2 hits, and they were both in that 6th inning. 2 hits, 1 earned run. He struck out 8 Giants. It was the first time that he struck out that many since 2021. 3 years, May 16th, 2021 at Detroit. More than 3 years, like 3 years and a month that he struck out 8 guys. Another stat, he had 14 whiffs, the most in a game since 2022 against Cincinnati. That's a 40% whiff rate. That was his highest since April 7th against Milwaukee in 2022. Those stats were by Ryan Herrera, CHGO Cubs. But yeah, Kyle Hendricks, this was truly, I mean, again, he's like the last guy on the World Series Cubs still on this team. I had some hope that he was going to be decent after last year, that he bounced back from his shoulder injury that kind of fucked up his like 2022 year. I mean, we were talking about it all through April. I thought he was done. I thought it was like they're just kind of keeping him on so he gets to 10 years of service time, get that pension. It's like, hey, Kyle, we're going to give you like a relief appearance in like July, get you that standing ovation. Like a lot of people are talking about, when Kerry Wood got that and in his last game with the Cubs. I thought that was going to happen. I thought they were going to give him the Jason Hayward treatment. It's like, you're on the team, but like we're gonna put you on the IL to finish the season. You can stick around if you want. We love you. You're a good guy, clubhouse guy, but we don't want you to pitch because you're really fucking bad and you're killing us. Because every time you start, you're only going 4 or 5 innings. Our bullpen has to pitch like half the game. You're killing us for like the next week.
You're getting shelled.
Holy shit, dude! And then out of like. He got sent down, or he got injured. I'm doing that in quotes. Got to AAA, came back. They put him in the bullpen. He was, his first couple outings, I think he gave up runs. So like he still wasn't looking good, but I think he's up to like 11 scoreless innings in a row. So he's showing something. He's coming back from the dead. I thought he was done. I thought it was completely sayonara. Kyle Hendricks, like career over. But the old man, I think he's what, like 36, 35? He still got something. He still got something in there. I have no idea. He was throwing 88, striking guys out. No clue. No clue. No clue. I don't know what the scouting report was with
good
the Giants,
for Kyle.
But good for Kyle Hendricks. I love it because, again, dude, that's a guy who just...
I don't think I've ever
you appreciate the guys who just don't have all the talent in the world, but they figure out a way to get it done. And that's the guy who did that for like almost an entire decade and it just kind of left him. And now he saved the fucking Cubs this week because Jordan Wicks got hurt. He came back. He's hurt again. Ben Brown has a neck strain. They called it a rare injury. We're like, oh, what the hell does that mean? But apparently it's not as serious as they thought. So he started throwing again. I mean, this past week's okay. Let me get to Monday night. Monday
Go
night.
ahead. This is a safe place.
Monday night was. Okay. So new series. Against the Giants, the Cubs offense has just been killing the team for like a month and a half, just not doing anything. It seems like every other game, the opposing pitcher has a no-hitter, a perfect game in the 5th inning. These games, I was telling Zoe before we started record Wednesday night, I was like, boring as hell. Falling asleep watching the Cubs. I was telling him, it was like you're playing MLB The Show and you're swinging everything. The opposing pitcher has 30 pitches in like the 4th and 5th inning. It was brutal. They were doing nothing. They're just getting dominated over and over again. Offense finally wakes up. They score 6 runs. It's 6-3 into the top of the 8th inning. Mark Leiter Jr., who's been one of the more reliable bullpen guys this year, he has been struggling lately though. He gives up a solo home run. So that makes it 6-4. You're like, okay, it's fine. It's 6-4, 2-run lead. We know that Hector Neris is coming in. If he gives up 1 home run, that's fine. Still got the lead, right? Just don't walk anybody. Well, before that, Miguel Amaya, who's been one of the worst catchers in baseball. By the way, White Sox fans, do you guys think that that your catching situation has been bad? I think the Cubs have now passed the White Sox for offense, worst offensive from the catcher position. And that was Yan Gomes and Miguel Amaya. They combined for a 38 WRC plus. That's second worst in MLB. So bad. And Miguel Amaya has also been bad defensively. First batter in the top of the 9th inning, catches interference. All right, so there's one base runner. Bad start. Or no, that was the second batter. There was 1 out in the inning. Next guy, a walk. Hector Neris has 20 walks in 26 innings. That's bad. You don't want to be walking a guy every inning. That's terrible. That's like Tyler Chatwood. Ooh, that sent shivers down my spine.
I don't want that.
I still remember doing those notifications for Tyler Chatwood.
I forgot about that. Those are good times.
Those were good times. Next batter, it sucks because it was like a pop fly, but it was like 95 degrees at Wrigley. The wind was blowing out. 3-run home run. The Cubs all of a sudden are losing 7-6. They go down in order the 9th inning. Horrible loss. I was so pissed off. I think I wrote my headline for the story I wrote was like, I hate the 2024 Cubs. I'm effing Jed Hoyer. I was mad at Craig Counsell. Obviously Hector Neris. I was throwing jabs at Mark Leiter. Everybody was getting it from me on Monday night. And then they won 2 more games, which again, first series win and since like mid-May, so like a month. But the bullpen is still brutal, man. I mean, the Cubs on Wednesday were leading 6-1. Finally got some more home runs. Some more hits with runners on base. The Giants were also fucking up on the field, and they actually at the end they botched. It was like a caught stealing first. It was 1st and 3rd, 2 outs. Dansby Swanson gets stuck between 1st and 2nd, and then the Giants drop the ball trying to tag him. That ends up scoring the 6th run. The Cubs won 6-5. So thank you, Giants, for that. But man, Mark Leiter Jr. He was good for like up until a couple weeks ago. He's been awful. They had to use. Tell me if you know this name, Zoe. Or no, I'm going to ask you because I don't know if you saw the name or not. Who do you think got the save for the Cubs on Wednesday? I'll give you his first name, Colton. What's his last name? Give me Colton
Streeter.
Close. Colton Brewer. Cubs legend Colton Brewer got his first MLB save because that's where the Cubs are at right now.
That sounds like an SEC quarterback. Where did he come from?
Colton Brewer, I think he used to be with like the Red Sox. He's been on a handful of teams,
I
but
mean, come on, you can hear it now. Starting for Oklahoma, Colton Brewer.
Colton Brewer.
Yeah.
You know, you're right. That's a great SEC quarterback name, or like Big 12. He got the save because Hector Neris is so ass that I was freaking out because after that game on Monday in the post-game show, Craig Counsell was asked, like, are you gonna keep having Hector Neris as the closer? And he did the whole manager talk. He's like, you know, he's been reliable for us. False. Lie detected there.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you know, we need him to get outs. But the Cubs had back-to-back save opportunities. Hector Neris was nowhere to be found for those. So that's a good sign. So I'm glad that Craig Counsell, that he was just throwing out, I guess he didn't want to throw him under the bus. So, hey, players manager, cool. They don't want to just sandbag him in the media. Okay, fine. That's I in my head I was like, is Craig Counsell high on crack? Why is he saying this? That's where I was at Monday night. But I did tell you before, I'm not going to go all negative. I know the Cubs have been just atrocious, but I do have some positive signs here. So let me rattle off some notes here. Michael Bush, who the Cubs traded for, Michael Bush. This is after Wednesday's game where he went, I believe, like 1 for 2, had a double and a walk. He now has a 134 WRC plus. That ranks third best amongst all MLB first basemen. He's only behind Freddie Freeman and Bryce Harper. That's pretty good. Pretty good company. He's ahead of Christian Walker, Pete Alonso, Vlad Jr., Matt Olson. Pretty damn good. I don't think anyone expected Michael Bush to be this good. He's slashing 266, 360, 464. I'll take that every day of the damn week. He had a slump of 2-3 weeks at the end of like mid-May, like mid-April into May. But he's been on fire lately. His last 3 weeks since May 28th. He's slashing 348, 464, 543. That's a 186 WRC plus. Amazing. Ian Happ, who's streaky as hell, but you got to believe in him because he's been a consistent hitter. You got to believe the track record, and damn it, I believe in the track record. He's now up to a 120 WRC plus. His last 95 plate appearances, 288, 389, 600. He has 6 home runs in those 95 plate appearances. Seiya Suzuki, who I thought was going to be hurt again like a week ago in Cincinnati when he got taken out of the game for an oblique. That same oblique. What's the oblique, man? I've never heard so many oblique injuries this year for the Cubs. I hate it. Since May 29th, he's slashing 313, 387, 582, 4 home runs and 75 plate appearances. This one's kind of sad, but we're celebrating the positives here. Dansby Swanson is up to an 88 WRC plus. That's still 12% below league average, but again, he's trending upwards. He's been slashing 220, 303, 458, 3 home runs and 66 plate appearances since May 31st. Kyle Hendricks, who I just said was amazing. The Cubs currently, they have a top 5 starting rotation. They have a 3.41 starters ERA. Shota Imanaga. I love this guy. Who doesn't love Shota Imanaga? I know White Sox fans love Shota Imanaga. I know White Sox fans love him too.
I'm a White Sox fan, and I love him.
Shota Imanaga is he's the bee's knees, damn it.
The guy he just looks like he's having so much fun, and then he gets into the game, and like
he is everything. Like you know how like people always complain. It's like, you know, it's only always the hitters who show emotion. Like show Shota Imanaga's highlight reel. This dude is just leaving it all out there. I love it. He's Carlos Zambrano. He's Japanese Carlos Zambrano. He's amazing. Tyson Miller, bullpen guys. We want to talk about anything good about the bullpen? Tyson Miller, only 2 earned runs and 14 2/3 innings pitched. 13 strikeouts, 2 walks. It's something. It's only 14 innings. I know and that's the thing. He gave up the grand slam to Jorge Soler on Wednesday, but he's still part of the positive. That's the positives I have. Oh, and again, Thomas Nido, Nido. I think is it Nido or Nido? Whatever it is. Cubs got him. Mets DFA'd him. Cubs picked him up. I mean, is he good at hitting? No, but the Cubs have been so bad that he's slashing 229, 261, 361. He has 3 home runs. That's like a 30% improvement from what the Cubs have been getting at their catcher position. It is that bad that Thomas Nido is an improvement at the Cubs catcher position. But that's unfortunately where the Cubs are at. I think he's a Band-Aid. Again, I'm not saying Thomas Nido is like a good job, Jed Hoyer. It's just kind of a Band-Aid for now. You're hoping that Miguel Amaya like turns it on or just stops being bad. Because, I mean, Elias Diaz from the Rockies, he got hurt. So you don't know what the hell's happening with him. The Blue Jays, maybe you try to trade for Danny Jansen, but, I mean, maybe they're buying. Who knows? Thomas Nido, the answer. He has like a 620 OPS, and Cubs fans were like, "Fuck yeah, let's go." That's how bad it is, though. That's how bad it is. We're like, Thomas. I literally put up his Baseball Savant page. I mean, it's not good, but it's like his catching. 3 out of the 4 bars are in red. I'm like, all right, a catcher who can catch. Damn it, we got that going for us.
Gentlemen, how we doing?
Hey, buddy. How are you? You're back in the car? They kicked you out of the studio?
Dude, it's hot. Well, actually, I am in studio tonight, but like the audio booth I'd usually sit in is being used by someone, so I was out in the parking lot.
Look at that lighting, though. Look at that lighting on Mitch.
Yeah, we classed it up a little.
So,
by the way, Mitch, I saw them setting up the stands for the NASCAR race in the city this week. Yes. Thought about you, Mitch?
Hey, listen, I feel for the people down there that have to deal with the extra traffic, but just know this is a lot better than when F1 rolls to town, because that's going to be even worse. Like set up until that's going to take like half the year. There's only a couple weeks. Be grateful it's this race now, because you hear some of the horror stories from Vegas when F1 came to town. It was a hell of a lot worse.
There are a lot of horror stories in Vegas.
So Aldo was just finishing his rant about the Cubs being terrible.
But that was good stuff. That was all good stuff. That was positive. I mean, there's a lot of bad, but
yeah, I just still laugh when they asked Shota. They're like, "What was going through your head when you struck that dude out in like whatever the 7th or 8th?" He goes, The translator says it to him. He looks right at the translator. He says it to him. The translator goes, "My honest thoughts. I was very hungry. I was thinking about what I was going to have for dinner. Those are just my honest thoughts." I'm like, I love this guy.
Once I read that article about him, he like went to a Blackhawks game, and then he wanted to buy a Michael Jordan jersey. I'm like, how do you not like this guy?
Yeah, he's
a likable dude.
He's enjoying his time. You know what I mean? Like he's playing well. That always helps. Obviously, he's become like this like cult hero almost in all of Chicago, not just Cubs fans. Me and Mitch are sitting here as Sox fans. Like, I love this guy. He gives great interviews. I mean, he's on the Pat McAfee show. And McAfee's like, ask him what pitch he would throw me and how far I would hit it. And so the translator says it to Shota, and Shota turns and says, the translator goes, he said he'd throw a fastball right in front of your face. And then McAfee goes, well, I'm charging. And then Shota says something again, and he's like, no, he says, don't worry. It won't hit you. It just scared the hell out of you. And like, the guy just cracks me up, man.
I know that there's obviously a lot. There's like social media isn't nothing what it was back when Tadahito Iguchi was around. But like with the Cubs recently, with their Japanese players, they just seem like the most charismatic guys, like outgoing personalities. Like, and that's even like through the language barrier. Like Yu Darvish, Seiya Suzuki, Shota Imanaga, and I know that Yu Darvish recently does speak more English to the media. But like just. They're just immediately so likable, and like that obviously gives you that extra, like as a fan, it's like yes, like I want this guy.
It almost makes him a little bit more enduring in a way, just because like when he makes the attempt, like when he comes out in the press conference and he's like, "Oh, hey, Chicago," like go, like it makes it like he's like, "Hey, he's making an effort." And like you said, he's a stud too, which also helps. But
yeah, I mean, hand up. I thought him not having a fastball would fucking be his downfall in major leagues, but he's getting by it, hitting 92.
You can locate that thing, man. You're
he's doing very, very well. But I don't know, Mitch. You know, I got I was unable to catch it today because I was at the barber, but I've gotten a couple texts today saying that your pregame
Pinwheels
show,
pregame.
Pinwheels pregame was on point today. What were some of the highlights, bud?
We were breaking down. Well, there's a couple of things. Drew Thorpe, obviously, he was shoving last night. Had a really good start, showing a lot of improvement, and that's kind of why I wasn't upset about Jordan Leisure getting sent down. Because I think there's certain times, like when in Cannon's case, he got knocked around a little bit after making his debut. They wanted him to work on some stuff. So he goes down there, works on it, comes back, and he was able to apply it, which is not easy, but like I think it was better off for him getting that first taste of major league experience kind of out of the way. So you kind of get the nerves out. You know what to expect when you come back there. And I think it was really beneficial for him. And with Leisure, I think it'll be beneficial for him too, because he kind of got thrown into a situation where he's in all these high leverage innings and whatnot. And it's his first taste of major league action. And that bullpen's not very good. So they're asking a lot out of this kid for his first season in the MLB. So I don't think it was necessarily a bad thing to let him take a step back, kind of reset and the minor leagues work on some stuff and then bring him back. So that was number one. The other big thing was like listening to Chris Gett's conference. Like I'm getting more and more concerned they're going to trade Garrett Crochet. I think because like when they asked him about it, he brought it up a little bit like unprompted. We're like, hey, like what's the plan for like the contention window? And he brought up how like, hey, because I had Dylan Cease when I first started this job and everyone wanted him, I was able to build a lot of contacts with these other general managers because they were all reaching out, like wanting it. And we're also ahead of the curve because they know what's in everyone's like farm system. And then he brings up Crochet's name, and that was like, so I was like, ooh, that's a little concerning. And then when they Robert's name, he's like, yeah, no, we're not trading him unless like we're blown away by a pack, which is not necessarily what they said about Crochet. And then later it comes out, Rosenthal basically said something very similar, like, yeah, like a lot of teams are interested, they're looking to trade him. So that one's getting a little concerning as far as that goes. But
I hate to see it, but I like. So Aldo asked me straight out, Mitch, if I was in charge, would I trade Robert or Crochet? And I said I prefer not to. But if someone called and offered like an insane package, you'd be an idiot not to take it.
You have to listen to it. Yeah.
Right. And I feel like Crochet is good enough and young enough and has proven this year that he wants to be here and that I still keep thinking back to the line when he said, me and my class at Tennessee came in when the program sucked and we took a lot of pride of bringing it back to prominence. He said, me and some of the core guys here have talked about doing that for the Chicago White Sox. That line that he said it sticks in my head. Like I don't, that's one of the biggest reasons I don't want him to go, because he actually wants to build this shit up. And I feel like he's good enough where you could build a staff around him. You could put 4 other guys in a rotation around him.
Yeah. And I said it last week. I'll say it again this week. Like, I feel like any team that trades for him now is buying low because he's only going to get better. I think his value is only going to increase. So you might as well hang on to him. I think it's been very encouraging watching him develop this year. I will say too, I was curious, Zo, what were your thoughts when they pulled Cannon 1 out away from the complete game? Were you upset about that? Because I saw some people upset they didn't let him finish the game. I actually thought Grifol, and I know it's not popular to give him a compliment, but I actually thought he handled that game really well. He gave the kid a chance to finish it. He gave him a little leeway after giving the single, but like, go ahead run, goes to first, or tying runs at first base now all of a sudden, then you make the moves. I didn't have any issue. Did you have any problems with that?
No, I get it. Your team is garbage and you have a win on the table. You have to take every win you can possibly. You can't like risk it. Because let's play devil's advocate here. He leaves them in and he gives up a 3-run bomb the next pitch. Now that comes all on Grifol. Like, what are you doing leaving that kid in there? Like, do I want him to have the complete game shutout? Fuck yeah. That kid was balling, dude. He deserved it. He got 2 limp dick singles he gave up. And, I mean, unfortunately, that's just the way it's been going for the White Sox this year. And the pitch count was at like 116, 117. If I'm Pedro, I do the same thing. I'll just say that.
Now, the other thing, I completely agree. The other thing I was talking about on the show, and this is another thing I'd be curious to get both of your thoughts on. The same day that Cannon made his start, Mike Clevenger was making a rehab start in AAA Charlotte.
We talked about this, Mitch.
Yeah, because of the elbow injury, too. He's going to have to make one more, but it's lining up in the same day. I would be so pissed if he gets swapped out. Like, if him or Thorpe, I would hope I hope it's neither of them, but like if they
Right.
get moved further, because like what is Clevenger providing for this team the rest of the way? He has no trade value. His trade value was already low, and now he's coming off an injury where he wasn't performing that well in his first 4 starts anyway. He has no future with the team. Like, what does he provide? Like, just cut your losses at this point. And this is where I'll give the Astros a lot of credit, and was what I think the Sox should do with Benintendi. As much as I love Jose, you know, they gave him every opportunity to succeed. They sent him down to the minors. He just wasn't cutting it. They're like, all right, we're going to cut our losses. This isn't working out. They got to do the same thing with Clevenger. And I think you can make the argument they got to do the same thing with Benintendi, too, at this point.
Yeah, no, we said it. There's just no reason Clevenger should be taking up space and taking starts away from some of these young guys. No reason.
There's no reason for Mike Clevenger to pitch for the White Sox again.
There's not. Like, you can make the argument to, like, for the trade. We want to flip him at the deadline. But that trade value is shot.
For what?
And that's the thing. For people who do argue that, he was, you know, his numbers were good last year, and still no one wanted him.
And that's the other reason he was so shitty to start this season. It's because no one wanted him. He needed all that time to try and build up his arm. So his first 4 starts, he was only going like 4 innings because like his arm wasn't built. That was like his spring training for him. He's useless.
By the way, and it was twice. No one wanted him at the trade deadline, and then he was put on waivers after like the August 31st deadline, and nobody wanted to pick him up then either.
Nobody wanted him all offseason,
which is all valid, and I think the offseason thing even more so valid. The waivers, like I hear that all the time, and I've written that too. But like a team would have been having to eat a couple $1 million just for like 2 or 3 starts of Clevenger at the end of the year. So like I can understand why no one claimed him on waivers, but
that's true.
Regardless, point stands. No teams want him. Who's going to trade him?
Like no one's gonna like you're not gonna get anything for this guy. He's not gonna get traded. Like best case scenario is like he pitches well, and again, no one's gonna trade for him. You're gonna just DFA him eventually anyway. Just do it now. Just like you said, cut your losses. Like what are you doing? That signing, I get the Pham signing. You need like a good quality hitter for your outfield with like the injuries, but like what was the point of Mike Clevenger? That signing never made sense in April. Never made sense.
Well, I'd be very okay if I never see Martin Maldonado never catch a game for the White Sox again. I'd be very okay if I never see Mike Clevenger pitch. I'd be okay if I see Chris Flexen never pitch again or Soroka pitch again. Like, I don't know what any of these guys bring to the table. You have a stable of young horses in AA and AAA that are more than proving themselves. Mitch, we went over Edgar Cuero's numbers.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man. I mean, at the very least, get him in AAA. Like, what the fuck?
I found that interesting, too. And the recent moves they made this week with Chucky Robinson signals to me that they don't think that Cuero's ready yet for whatever reason. Because I think the only reason you make that move, if you look at, as much as I'm a Chucky Robinson fan, if you look at his numbers in AAA, they're not that good offensively. He was never known as being a great defensive catcher either. But the White Sox are like, oh, we really liked what he was bringing to the table. And for those that don't know, like, so what happened was they added him to the 40-man roster. They had to like re-sign him because he signed a minor league deal, but there was an option in that deal where if he wasn't added to the 40-man roster by a certain point, he could walk away. So with Max Stassi out for the year and you got Maldonado and Lee up in the majors, they have no emergency option at the moment. So I view that as they need Chucky as their emergency option because for whatever reason, they don't think Cuero's ready for the big leagues yet, which I think's odd when you look at his numbers, but that's how I interpreted that.
Well, in that case, if you're going to do it that way, I'm good with them not bringing Cuero up because I don't want him up just to sit. You know what I mean? Like, and so what I'm saying is at the very least, he needs to be in AAA. And also, Martin Maldonado is historically bad. Historically bad. Why? You've cut guys for way less than this.
Ozzy brought up the point that he thinks the reason he's getting so much playing time is because Pedro's scared of him because he's like this big established veteran and like, you know, he's been around the league a while and he's seen what a good manager looks like in Dusty Baker. And now he's got this boob here and Pedro. I think Ozzy's point was like, yeah, I think he's scared of him. That's why he like insists on playing him all the time.
That I think I brought it up I think it's now 3 weeks ago since I've been on. It's crazy to think that this breakout season that we've seen from Corey Lee was only made possible because Max Stassi got hurt in spring training.
Yeah.
It's just insane that it was going to be Martin Maldonado and Max Stassi as your catchers for like probably at least half the season. Maybe like you trade one of them or DFA one of them, but like for a big chunk of the season, it was going to be those two guys, and you weren't going to see much of Corey Lee. It's just
Well,
man, what was happening there?
I think Shy Sox Mike wrote about this in Sports Mockery, sportsmockery.com. Check it out. But like basically, like, it's kind of one of Rick Hahn's final moves. Kind of turned out to be a good one. But what's so impressive to me with what Lee's doing behind the plate, especially when you look at the pop time numbers and his like percentage of throwing guys out, it is easier than ever to steal a base in the MLB now. You can't pick off as much. The bases are bigger. The guys are bigger, stronger, faster, and he's still throwing guys out at a high rate on a team that historically does a terrible job holding on runners to begin with. So like nothing but good things to say about Lee. We were all trashing Schriffen for saying he's a star. Schriffen he might have been onto something. I don't know if he's like a star, but he's pretty damn good. He's on the right trajectory.
I've been a Corey Lee guy since they got him, just for the record. I ate shit last year when he couldn't hit fucking water out of a boat. But
I don't remember you pounding the Corey Lee table last year.
At the beginning, like at the trade, when the trade happened.
I was pumped that they got him.
A lot of people like
he is a perfect example of my MLB. If you're good in MLB The Show, you're good in real life, because he had a rookie like showcase card that was awesome, and I absolutely raked with him in the game. And I was like, Corey Lee, hell yeah, I know that name. Like, that's my dude. And I think
at the time of the trade, Fangraphs still had him like in the top 100 of one of their he was like 75th or something, and it's like, okay, and it's like I do remember looking. I was like, oh man, he's 25. Still at AAA. It's like the numbers don't look that great. Like, what's going on with this guy? And then he has that 1.5 months of just like awful hitting, and you're like, holy shit, man.
It was odd too, because the defense, if I recall correctly, was kind of like one of the biggest concerns when he came over. They're like, yeah, he's not.
It's just like, well, he has a big arm.
But he had a big arm. Yeah, he always had a big arm, but he worked this offseason, man. And like you said, best pop time in baseball right now with one of the best arms behind the plate. Also, side note, always wears Jordan 1 cleats, so shoe game is on point.
Hell yeah.
He's hitting really well. He's fast for a catcher. He can move. He's everything Martin Maldonado is not. And it's like, I don't know what we're doing here. I don't understand why Martin Maldonado is still on this team.
I can already see it like in 2 weeks. Martin Maldonado DFA'd, White Sox sign, Yan Gomes minor league deal.
I wouldn't be close to that. I would be fine if the White Sox kept him on the roster. Just like play, like Lee should be the starter, and he's not. And they keep saying, well, there's stuff we want him to work on. Like, what does he need? What box does he need to check? Tell us what box he needs to check then, because like he should be getting more playing time. Plain and simple.
What does he need to do? What? Tell me, someone. Drew, you're the only person in the comments. Tell me, because I don't understand. I don't get it. Maybe tomorrow when I'm at the game with Fitz, we'll walk over to the dugout, because I guarantee you that I will be able to walk down to the dugout, and I'll just be like, Pedro, what are we doing, bud?
Why is it? Yeah. Well, yeah, Pedro's probably upset that Corey had some comments about Corey didn't like that Pedro went public,
which made me like him more.
Yeah, same here. I was like, good for you, Corey.
Yeah, which made me like him more, and yeah.
No, Corey isn't stupid. He knows, like, I'm going to be here a lot longer than you, Pedro.
Yeah, I just look. Corey Lee's batting 247, 288, 385 with an OPS of 673. So it's not like he's like killing it, but like. You want me to talk about what Martin Maldonado's doing? Because he's hitting .083, 139, 130, 269.
So those Corey Lee numbers, as a Cubs fan, that's like 30% better than what the Cubs have been getting. Give me that. Amazing. That's a superstar catcher for the Cubs.
He's got 5 stolen bases, baby.
That Cubs team right now, or this Cubs team, I should say, it reminds me so much of the 2022 White Sox. Just like so like you came in with expectation this team should win the division, and just so frustrating to watch on a nightly basis. And then to have like Jed's turned into the new Rick Hahn over there. I mean, turning on him quick.
It's that's like this is it should be like it should be just like with like some of these players. like Jed Hoyer, I think a lot when, like you said, with Rick Hahn, it comes to a point where it's like, okay, you had your time to sign guys, bring guys up if you wanted to. We all brag about, oh, Cubs #1 farm system in the game. Well, when like half your team is struggling, are you ballsy enough to make a move or to make a big trade, make a big call up? Like, what are you gonna do here? Like, he should be on the hot seat. Like, this year should be like, hey, make the playoffs or like you're fired. Like, I would have. I know I've been like with me and Kevin, we're on kind of opposite sides with the Jed Hoyer debate. Like, I've been more patient with him a lot than Kevin has. But I'm not gonna be like, oh, don't fire Jed if the Cubs don't make it this year. It's like, no, like, hey, it's been like 5
That
years
NL
now.
is wide open too. It's not like there's any world beaters there. Like,
That's the most frustrating part. It's like, well,
That's what we
especially
were talking
in the
about.
division, NL Central. You are like, I think that Lawrence Holmes says it all the time. You're the Chicago Cubs. You're a big market team. You had every opportunity to add big, add stars, add multiple stars, because your next competition is the Milwaukee Brewers. And they're just outclassing you like every year now. And it's like, you have the resources to make up that ground. And you just decided not to. And it's like, yeah,
this is
Jed
one of
Hoyer
those,
should be on the hot seat.
it's one of those seasons. I saw this debate on Twitter, but like, I think I would rather be a Sox fan this year.
No, I don't know.
As we are, I've accepted that we're bad at this point, where you guys are invested in every game, and every loss stings that much worse. It was like 2022 was so frustrating because I knew they were bad, but they were still hovering around contention,
around
walking up,
500.
and I would watch every game, and every loss I'd be so pissed off. And now it's like, I know they suck. They win, it's icing on top. But like,
No,
I'm
you're right. You're right, Mitch. You're right. I know I pushed back immediately, but I think you're right. Yeah, because every game is like.
No, that's why I was saying, like, when you were going off Aldo, I was like, oh, it must be nice to feel something for your team. I'm so numb by the White Sox, just completely numb. Like, don't.
Oh
don't
yeah, I
care.
wouldn't want this long term, but like,
Yeah, even betting the White Sox, like, I don't care anymore. Like, if they lose me money, I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
No,
like, I just don't. If I win, it's like, oh, cool, my team still sucks.
You're completely right, Rich. It's all based on expectations. Because like last year, the Cubs were like kind of shitty up until the middle of June. They're 10 games below 500, but the expectations were kind of like maybe they'll make the playoffs. This year, it's like win the division. Like you should win the division. They're under 500. And I was telling Zoe that Monday night blown game. I was ready. I was gonna go in the group chat and be like, guys, I like doing the show. I try to be positive, but I was about to throw this out. I was like, I don't think I want to do the show for a little while more.
Been doing this shit for over 5 years, and that game almost killed Aldo.
We've been through like years long rebuild, and I've been like, fine, whatever. There's always the hope at the end of the tunnel. But that loss Monday almost took me out. That loss almost. Yeah, I need an 8 count.
Says we got 533 people watching, but Drew's the only one talking, baby. Thank you.
Drew. Shout out Drew. And if they would have blown Wednesday's game, maybe I don't show up tonight.
It was close to. I was like, look. I saw the score and I saw they're up like 6-1. I'm like, all right, Kevin's gonna see a nice little blowout. And then like I look back, like, what the hell happened?
It's brutal. There's just nothing more frustrating. There's just nothing more frustrating than when you have a big lead and your relievers just start walking guys. Because it's like, come on. Because that's what happened. It was like a single walk, grand slam. It's like, cool. Oh, and then I asked Zoe, Mitch, can you name me who got the save for the Cubs on Wednesday?
Oh,
I'll give you his first name.
But I can. All right, let's see.
Colton.
And he's not an SEC quarterback.
Not an SEC.
His name's Colton.
Colton. His first name.
Okay. It must have just glitched on my Colton. I couldn't fucking tell you.
Cubs legend Colton Brewer got the save. First MLB save. That's how bad the Cubs bullpen is now. Craig Counsell's just going to like career minor leaguers.
Has he been on?
I think he used to be with the Red Sox. Who else did I tell you, Zoe? Maybe the Yankees for like a game. I think he pitched a game last year in the majors. I'm
not fluent in Colton's career.
Well, I didn't realize, like, speaking of random guys getting saves, I didn't realize Drew Thorpe had a save in one of his 2 relief appearances. He
Really?
got credited for a save, yeah.
Here you go.
Oh, no.
Colton Brewer has been with the Padres, the Red Sox, the Yankees last year. Last year, he pitched in 3 games with the Yankees.
Colton
Brewer, 113 career innings.
So
I think I
the
said
White Sox
Thorpe.
are
I meant to say Jonathan Cannon there, Zoe. I think I said
Oh,
Thorpe.
yeah.
I meant to say
You did
Jonathan.
say Thorpe.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely meant to say Cannon.
I get it. Well, that makes sense.
I feel like that. It's been a long day today.
It do be like
No,
that.
oh, buddy, I do understand that, but I mean, I don't know. I'm very, very, very curious what's gonna happen in these
Yeah.
next couple weeks.
I was just gonna say, man, Mitch, you fucked me up with that 2022 White Sox comparison because I literally before going on to the starting to the recording tonight, I was like, I mean, yeah, they're under 500, but there's on the wild card race. The Brewers aren't like amazing, like they still have a shot. I'm still there. I'm still like, yeah, they still got like, hey, the guy. I like spent like 10 minutes just reading off stats of like positive stuff. I'm like, the guys are starting to turn it around. Just get 1 or 2 good relievers, and it'll be just fine. I'm still there. Like they're 3 games under 500. They played like shit for 2 months, but I'm like,
This is exactly what we were saying
NL is
2
weak.
years ago.
NL
The
Central's
division's
weak.
bad, we'll make a couple moves at the deadline. They just want 2 in a row. Things going. It's
God.
literally the same.
It's fuck.
They'll make a couple moves at the deadline, and all they'll sign is a lefty reliever that they'll keep for
Yeah.
20 games.
No, I think they could do it because I think Jake Diekman is on the Rays. Is he on the
Yep.
Rays?
Yeah,
they'll
doing
trade for him
well.
because like the Rays are kind of out of the race.
But he's
Yeah,
doing well.
been pretty good this year. Aaron Bummer. Just
Aaron
saying.
Bummer.
He's looked a lot
Radl's
better.
got the
looks
best
good.
damn ERA in the National League.
Yep.
Oh, Diekman's on the Mets now.
Oh, the Mets. That's who it is.
He was on the Rays though.
Last year. I mean, there they go. Cubs will trade with the Mets.
Yeah.
For Jake Diekman. Hey, it's like, hey, we got a
That would
reliever.
actually be-
Go get him.
I actually would not. That would be a decent move.
I think that was top 3 most upset I was on this show.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Because I remember you saying right before that episode, like this is the most important trade deadline I can remember in my White Sox fandom, and I actually agree. I was like, yeah, this is going to be very, very telling. And then they come out because I remember that day too. It was the last day of the trade deadline, and my girlfriend at the time wanted to go out, and I'm like, I can't. Like, the trade deadline's tonight. Like, they might have an alert. I'm probably gonna have to write up. I'm sitting there waiting all night for them to do something, and they don't do jack shit. Oh, I was so pissed.
I was so mad. I'm like getting like remembrance mad right now. I was so like that was number 2 to the Machado Harper thing.
Yeah,
people still talk. People like random people I don't even know. They're like, dude, I remember when you were going all pissed off about Harper and Machado. I'm like, yeah, I've done about 500 other episodes since then, but yeah, I remember that.
Mitch, though, at least with the Harper Machado, you're like, all right, I was upset, but at least you had all these good these prospects coming through the system. You're like, all right, we still got Moncada and Abreu and Eloy's going to be a stud and Robert's going to be a stud. Like the future's still bright. Where the Diekman one, it was like, what the fuck?
Does Dylan Cease struggling make you guys feel any better?
No. I like Dylan.
I do too.
Tim Anderson and Jake Berger struggling is like,
I want to see both of them succeed too. Same with Jose. I was like, that sucked. Mostly, especially with TA, because I was like last year in one of my many terrible baseball takes. He's not that bad. White Sox, bring him back. He can rebound. We're gonna miss him when he's gone, and I was wrong about that one. It's also wrong about Jose. So 0 for 2 on those take.
Hey, I was ready to give Jose Abreu $40 million over 2 years. I wanted.
It was a great move for the Astros, but yeah, just goes to show what I know.
Oh man. Oh boy. I'm like I have to like calm down for a minute because I've gotten secondhand mad. You're right though. We did a show before the trade deadline.
Oh my god.
And I said how like this was the biggest trade deadline in White Sox history. This is gonna make or break Han's career. This is gonna do this, and it technically was kind of right.
Yep.
But it was just like, this is it. This is it. Like, they have a chance. They can go for it. The division's weak. They just need to make a couple good moves here. There was some bats available. There was some pitching available. Like, everything was there. Just go out and get it.
Oh,
Jake
God.
Diekman.
I think
I
part
already
of
know.
it
Oh,
was
man.
like we didn't have a ton to give up. I think, but like even so, like yeah, I don't know. It's whatever.
So I
and then he
still
came-
remember that 2022 season. I think the White Sox, for as bad as they were, I think they got within like 3 or 4 games in like the last 10 games of the season. That series against Cleveland.
Yep.
When they had
Because
that
we-
lead and they blew it.
On the road in mid-September, we got it down to 3 games, and Elvis Andrus was like, "Yeah, like they're not. They've never been in this position before. They feel us coming.
Yeah.
Like, they got feeling the pressure." And they came to Chicago and kicked our ass. There was that extra inning game where Jose bailed us out because he got that RBI single off of Clase, who was like untouchable at the time. So that was like, oh shit, and that basically kept the season alive because you lost one of those games. We were kind of screwed and ended up getting swept. That was sickening.
Oh man,
Moncada boomed the ball in extra innings. It was just like his second error of the day. Oh,
I
fuck.
already see it, guys.
First
So
in that series, I still remember.
I'm looking ahead of the Cubs schedule in September, and like right in the beginning, or not, like September 6th through September 6th through September 11th, they got Yankees Dodgers. However, after that they have Rockies A's. I'm gonna be a wreck those 2 weeks. Like they're gonna
A's
win
are
like
actually like competitive though. They always like play teams tough. Like every
They
time I
do.
see them, they're always like hanging around in these games. A's aren't really pushovers anymore.
And I gotta say, the Rockies game, it's in Colorado, and those games are always stupid. Those Rockies games in Colorado get dumb. Oh man, they're gonna be on the road in Philly, and then Cincinnati at the end of the season. Those 6 games, the Cubs are gonna get like within a couple. It's like, hey, if the Brewers lose a couple more, Cubs.
Who's on your trade deadline wish list? Or I guess position group. Obviously bullpen. I would
It's
imagine.
still, yeah. I mean, it's like bullpen 1, catcher 2, and then I know the Vladdy Jr. thing keeps coming up, and hey, I get it. He's been good. He's not the power hitter that everyone thinks he still is from like 2019. Like, don't get me wrong, he still hit like 28 home runs last year, like 30, I think. But like, it's not like he's like he's not Aaron Judge. He's not like Pete Alonso from a couple years ago. Like Michael Bush has been a better hitter than Vladdy Jr. I'm not giving up a top prospect for like a
That's
first.
just a trade. That's a trade for a name. You're trading for a name on that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's just
Like,
like,
yeah.
Vlad Jr.'s gonna hit all these home runs at Wrigley Field. It's like, is he?
Nah.
Like, is he? Like, he's slugging like barely above 400. Like, he's not like an elite power hitter. Again, good hitter. He's hitting for a high average. He has a good on base. But we're not trading for like a 40 home run hitter.
Right.
So I don't think I'm willing to give up that price for a guy like that. I'd rather give up give me a shutdown closer. Because again, I know everyone jumps on Jed Hoyer this week for his comments when he's like the offense needs to like step up. But like this, you're not going to replace 5 hitters. Like Ian Happ isn't going to get benched. Seiya Suzuki isn't going to get benched. Cody Bellinger isn't going to. That's your starting outfield. You're not going to bench her out.
No.
It's basically okay. Christopher Morel is having a worse season, a lot worse season than we thought. He's a terrible third baseman. He is only batting like 190. He's doing all the right things, but like the production just isn't there. Okay, so maybe you get like a good third baseman, but like who's out there that's going to do that? Yeah,
All right.
like you're not like I'd rather give Matt Shaw a chance. Like
Right.
do that.
It brings up a good point. They might not even trade him, and this kind of goes back to Rick
Right.
Hahn's conference where I was concerned that they might trade Crochet, or more concerned than I was last week, because that was another point he brought up was teams are really looking to sell at the deadline because like it's all wide open with the wild card now. Every team feels like they're in contention. So like there's not a whole lot of options like for teams to buy from. So
Yeah.
because of that, like the scarcity, a little bit of scarcity on the market.
Yeah, like Manny Mitch should sell. Like who even knows if the Blue Jays are going to sell? I thought they're like definitely heading that way, but like all these. There's just so much. I don't even know if it's parity. It's just like the league is kind of bad. Like the league, this is kind of what happened with the third wild card. That we knew was going to happen. We're just going to have all these mediocre teams kind of hovering around and being like, maybe we can sneak in like the Diamondbacks last year. And then that gives everybody hope. It's like, oh, just get in there and we get a chance to go to the World Series. So maybe those fringe teams where a couple years ago they do sell, now they won't.
I think just come to the South Side.
Vladdy Jr.
Come to the South Side. Pick out what you want. We got a nice Tommy Pham for you. We could give you a Mike Clevenger for your bullpen. You want to get creative with it.
I'm still holding on hope that I want Michael Kopech to be good. Like I want him to be a trade target, but he just isn't. Or he just isn't consistent. Like I need more.
I just think the confidence isn't there. The stuff's there. I just think the confidence is kind of shot.
I said he's like the bad boy at school. Someone's going to think that they can change him. I could change him. Good.
Yeah.
Trade for him.
Because every time he comes in, I know how bad he's been, but every time he comes in, I'm still optimistic. I'm like, all right, Kopech's in. Lockdown in, and then, it's home run after home run giving up. It's brutal.
I don't know. Isn't that? I think he pitched tonight for you guys. What's his name? Is it Brian Wilson? Or who do you guys have?
Brian Wilson. Brian Wilson's in beard.
Oh no, is it Brevia? Who?
Yeah, Brevia.
Brevia was the one that got the save yesterday.
He might get traded.
Maybe he hasn't really pitched that much. I feel like
we gotta do it with a basic ass name like John Wilson or like John Smith or something like that.
I don't know, Scott Will or Steven Wilson. Steven Wilson.
Steven Wilson.
Oh,
yeah,
Steven Wilson.
Steven Wilson.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's got a lot of control. He's got like 2 more years of control on his contract too.
I was gonna say like that's who the Cubs will get. Steven Wilson.
He was another guy I thought was gonna be better for the side. I knew that bullpen wasn't gonna be good, but I thought Steven Wilson would be a little bit better than what he's been.
Steven Wilson. Told you it was a basic ass name.
I'm still upset. I mean, Aaron Bummer. I wanted him since last July. I knew he was going to be good.
I knew as soon as he got out of the
that was one of those. That was one of those few. I'm very player friendly, and it's bit me in the ass like multiple times, as we just mentioned with TA and Jose. But that was one I feel like I'm on the right side on. I've been saying he's been good for a while. He's had a lot of bad luck. And everyone wanted to cast away Aaron Bummer. Oh, this guy sucks.
It was funny though. I do remember a game earlier this season. He came on. I think it was an extra innings, maybe, or the 9th inning, and it was a very much Aaron Bummer blown save, chopper over his head, run scores, and just like, well, Aaron Bummer, ladies and gentlemen.
Crochet had another good outing today. I'll be honest, I didn't even watch the game.
Crochet, he keeps being really good.
It wasn't one of his better ones.
Still quality start.
Quality start. That's all you want.
Yeah.
He gave up 9 hits and he only allowed 3 runs. Yeah, that's a win in my book. You're allowing 9 hits. I would expect a lot worse damage than that. So
no, there was a lot of traffic on the base paths tonight, but he stood strong. He did okay.
What do you guys put the over under for losses for the Sox this year? Like at 110?
You got to start it at 105.
I thought they were going to be better this year too. I was like, I think they'll win more games than people think. Yeah, I'm wrong about that too.
Yep. Oh,
so have you tried cashing out?
I was seriously thinking of betting
every day. Every day.
I was very close.
Just give me 2 cents. I don't care. I've gone to cash out that over 60 wins bet so many times, and it just sits there and taunts me. It just taunts me.
You're only 40 wins away. We still got half a season. You only need 40 more wins. It's really not a lot. Or was it 70 wins we need? Or you need? Or it was over 60?
Yeah, I need over 60.
All right. Yeah, it's only 40 more wins. You still got half a season to get.
Why is a better chance? That or I still have I have it in my FanDuel account. I still have Cubs to win division.
I have that too. I bet that at opening day. I have a buddy plays that. Yeah.
That's why I hate futures. I hate futures because that bet just sits there and just taunts you.
Dude,
I hate them too. I was so close midway through the year in December. I wanted to place a futures bet on the Celtics, but I hate futures. I'm like, well, I don't want to have it just sitting there, and so I didn't. And now I'm pissed because I ended up winning.
I still remember the 2022 season. It was similar to like this year. The Cubs were going to be bad, but I thought they were going to be better. I bet they're over. I think the over was 74, 75, and but I had the half of course, I lost by a half a game. And it's just like, oh fuck me. Like it was lucky they went on a crazy run in September. They went like 15-5 all of a sudden to make it close. But I was like, hey, and they blew a game against the Reds late. I'm like, fuck you guys.
Oh man, I don't know. You guys got anything else?
Did you guys talk any Willie Mays yet?
No, we didn't, and I'm glad you brought that up because obviously, rest in peace to a legend, a godfather of, I think, modern day baseball. Like, he was just amazing, and what he did during the time period he did it in was unprecedented and never seen before. And he truly was a groundbreaking athlete. You know what I mean? Like, you hear people all the time use the word GOAT and generational, and I think those terms get thrown around way too loosely nowadays. And Willie Mays truly was the greatest of all time in his era. He also was generational in the fact that he brought the over-the-shoulder catches. He brought you the dynamic five-tool player. He brought you everything. I mean, and then you hear these countless stories of what he did for the community and what he's done for other baseball players. Up until the day he passed, he was there for everyone. I mean, he's Barry Bonds' godfather.
Yep.
And I mean, with all due respect, and I can't stress that enough, I keep seeing people say that Willie Mays was the best baseball player ever, and very respectfully, no, he's not. His godson is. Put Barry Bonds' stats up there. Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player that ever lived. Steroids, whatever. I don't give a fuck what you think about it. Look at the numbers. It's insane.
Regardless, yeah, no, I don't disagree. It's really though, like when you look at his couple things that really popped out to me in his 24 seasons, he was an all-star in 20 of them. His career WAR, which they didn't really keep WAR back then, but like you look at it like now, 156.1. That's insane.
Yeah.
Two other ones that really stood out. When he was age 40, he stole over 20 bases that year.
40 years old. What were we just talking about age? We were just talking about Jose Abreu being 37 and how old he was in baseball years. Willie Mays out here stealing bases at 40.
He had 23 stolen bases at the age of 40 and a OBP of 425, despite only batting that season 271. So that's pretty impressive. The other last one
only 270.
Well,
go ahead.
Considering his like previous years, he's a career hitter. Last stat I got for you, and this was the one that like I was like, holy shit! In his 24 years playing Major League Baseball, he only hit into 45 double plays. Andrew Vaughn hits into like 45 in like a 2-week span, and this guy only hit 45. And his career like that, that's insane. That is insane.
Growing up, obviously, Henry Aaron had the home runs. Obviously, you know about Babe Ruth. And this was before, Barry Bonds was still like in the middle of his career. But growing up, I think for me, like Willie Mays was, like for me, just like starting to learn about baseball, going through the history. Like for me at the time, I think I did consider him the best of all time, just because like, you look at all the numbers, like the home runs, the RBIs, the average, the stolen bases, the longevity of it, all those all-star games. And then you learn it's like, he missed 2 years because he was in the military. He played out in San Francisco, giant ballpark, terrible hitting conditions, still hit 660 home runs. He plays like I think that they brought it up during the Cubs game on Wednesday. But that dude plays at Wrigley Field. He probably has like another 200 home runs. Like that dude was just insane. I do have to say, like you said, Zo, godfather of Barry Bonds. That picture that Barry Bonds has with him from like I think it's 2015 or 2016. Unfortunately, I did. Mitch, you just went through some of those stats. I have those memories of learning about him when I was younger. But I don't mean to laugh. But that was kind of the first thing I thought of when I learned of his passing was that photo of Barry Bonds, where he's just kind of laying down, and it's like is he sitting next to a dead Willie Mays, like 10 years ago? And I think it was like when not a lot of people were aware of their relationship, and it's like, why is Barry Bonds hanging out with Willie Mays in bed? It's like, what's going on? Do you guys know the picture I'm talking about or no?
I don't.
No, I can't picture it.
I'm gonna look. The first thing that always comes to my mind as you pull that up is like, yeah, obviously like the over the shoulder catch. Which rewatching it, one of the more impressive things about that catch is how quickly he got the ball in. Like that throw where he just like blindly spins around and yeets that thing back to the infield. Athlete.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, and I'm not taking any one.
Oh yeah, no, but
away
like
from
Barry,
the
but
Rays.
yeah, I mean Barry, yeah.
Barry's stats were just people literally forget how insane Barry Bonds' stats are.
Well, he was a douche. That's what
Yeah,
does
why
him in because the steroids is one, and he wasn't a very likable guy either. So you mix those two, he's not going to get the respect he deserves for performance on the field.
No,
I gotta head back into the.
I see what you're saying. No,
that's funny.
Yeah, that's not a great picture.
That was like from 2015, I think.
I can see like people would take that out of context.
It was
like,
so like Barry Bonds. I think he just tweeted it out. I think and it was just like, what is this?
All right. Well, Mitch, I know we're going to end the show here anyway. So,
Kick rocks, Mitch.
You get to stay for an ending finally. That's Mitch Kaminsky. That's Aldo. I'm Zo. If you guys are going to the Sox game on Thursday, come by and say what's up to me and Fids. And we will see you guys next week.